Nick's second domain expansion. Real World Order. This domain expansion is a weaker version of Balance Arena. Balance Arena is when Nick combines Chaos and Order energy together, while Rewriting Order is a domain expansion where he just uses Order energy. This domain creates a massive walls. The walls begin spin. The walls basically are like, you know, the Cell Games Arena? It's like that, but instead of being white, it's yellow. And the walls are preparing a small circle in the sky, and the circle is doing a ritual. In this ritual, Nick can easily, and I mean easily, obliterate your soul with no difficulty if he wants to, or even change it in any way he wants. The domain also is extremely hard to fight in because your moves are so predictable to Nick now. Because you're just in a predictable pattern that Nick can easily block. And you cannot break out of the predictable pattern no matter how strong you are. Then when the ritual is completed, Nick can fire the Grand Laser. But he needs to go into Angel V4 for the Grand Laser to work. The Grand Laser is a massive laser that targets the soul completely and obliterates every traces of it. If Nick needs to go that far, he can use it. The technique, if Nick doesn't want to kill you, then he doesn't have to with the technique. The technique is only made specifically to eliminate people. But if Nick doesn't want to kill you using the Grand Laser, then he can just use its weaker, less potent version, the Neuron Laser. The Neuron Laser is a weaker version of the Grand Laser and can only be worked when the ritual is half complete. Remember the short hit effect of the domain. The Neuron Laser, unlike the Grand Laser, doesn't obliterate the soul. It attacks the opponent and is made to incapacitate them, and also to take all their powers and abilities and give it to Nick. Nick can basically add on their own. So let's say Nick uses this on to... Who can I use as an example? I use them as examples too much. Antimatter. Yeah, Antimatter. If Nick fired the Neuron Laser on him, it would just incapacitate him and give Nick all of his abilities. The Grand Laser can give Nick all the abilities of the person he fires, but Nick just needs to fire it slower than usual. But the Neuron Laser, you don't need to fire it any slower than it usually does. You just need to make it hit, and that's the short hit effect of the domain. Bam, bam. And voila. Nick has all of your abilities and power stats. So let's say that the Antimatter example. So if it hits Antimatter, it will not only take his powers and abilities, but also his power level and add it on to Nick. So let's say Antimatter is infinite layers into Extraversal, and Nick is infinite layers into Extraversal and Base Form. Nick fires the laser. The infinite layers of Extraversal that Antimatter is adds on to Nick's power. Also, all of Antimatter's abilities control over matter of time would also go to Nick. So, yeah, the domain is pretty broken. Luckily, Nick hits JJK after Nanami's death, so he really refrains from using his domains unless it's absolutely necessary. Also, Rewrite Order is a domain that only lasts for 2 seconds. Outside, but inside the domain it lasts for a minute or two.